Hi there. My name is Juji. Welcome to my channel. This is a space for everyone and anyone who is interested in exploring self-development and relationships through the human design system. Today, I'm going to talk about another infamous love triangle, the one between Jennifer Aniston, Brad Pitt, and Angelina Jolie. The reason that I wanted to take a look under the hood, if you will, is because I had just done a two-part series about Prince Charles, Princess Diana, and Camilla Parker Bowles. And what I found when I looked at their charts, it was just so obvious what had happened between these three. And I wanted to see if it was the same between Brad and Jen and Angelina. So let's start by taking a look at their charts and we'll go from there. All right, so we're going to start with Brad. He is a projector. He has splenic authority. He's a 4-6 profile with a single definition, and he is on the right angle cross of Eden. Now, Brad only has one channel defined from the root to the spleen, the 2838, and this is the channel of struggle. And I actually mentioned this channel during my discussion about Charles and Diana because they share this as an electromagnetic, meaning one of them has one gate and the other has the other, and they form a connection in their composite charts together. But Brad has this on his own. So what he's really here to recognize is that his whole life is going to be a struggle. If he's not struggling, it's not his life. And in fact, he'd be bored out of his mind if he wasn't struggling. And so, his struggle with Jen and Angelina played out on a very public scale. So, we were a witness for his struggle. So this is Jennifer Aniston's chart. Note the fact that neither of them are sacral beings. So Jennifer Aniston is a manifester. She's a 5-1 profile. She has also splenic authority, also single definition on the left angle cross of revolution. And what I really want to point out here is that Jennifer is a closed aura. Right. So even though she was considered America's sweetheart and, was on this very sort of innocent show called Friends, she is a very powerful force. And this closed aura can be very hard to penetrate. And Brad, as a projector, is here to penetrate others. So it's actually kind of curious why these two ended up together. I guess one of the things that I would point to is the fact that they were both at the height of their career. They were both sort of seen as these beautiful people. And of course, who doesn't love two beautiful people getting together and then potentially making more beautiful people? So here's the two of them together. And this is really interesting because together they are what we call 6 and 3 better to be free, meaning they have 3 centers open and only 6 centers defined together. And what this means is that there needs to be a lot of freedom for both of them in the relationship so that they can have hilariously enough, relationships outside of their romantic relationship. And then they're here to sort of come back together and discuss what goes on in the outside world. And not to say that this can't make for longevity in romantic relationships. It's just kind of rare to see this kind of connection in married couples. So here we go. This is Angelina Jolie. She is a manifesting generator. So she has the sacral definition. She is a 3-5 profile and she's emotionally defined. She's a split definition and she's on the right angle cross of consciousness. So right off the bat, what I see is, of course, opposites tend to attract. So generators and projectors have this long-standing sort of history with being attracted to one another. The MG loves the projector focus. The projector loves the MG energy, especially when it's emotional authority, and it's this very like warm and fuzzy, comforting feeling. And of course, Angie has the channel 3536, which is all about the desire for new experiences. And this, a lot of the time, is associated with sexuality. So, you know, I think when this whole thing began with Brad and Angie being cast as Mr. and Mrs. Smith in this very spicy movie together, and the rumors started to circulate that they were, you know, canoodling behind the scenes, everybody was just kind of like, well, if Jennifer Aniston can't keep a man, like what chance do we have? So let's see their connection chart and see what was actually going on. So this is Brad and Angie together, and instead of 6 and 3, there's 7 and 2 work to do, which means that really they're always going to be working on their relationship. And interestingly enough, they only have one electromagnetic connection as well. So they remain split together. And this is sort of interesting because honestly, I was expecting them to have all these connections, all of these things that pointed to why he chose her over Jen. And I'm not sure I can see it. I really don't. Other than the fact that he really liked that sacral energy, I'm not really sure what the attraction principle was here, but let's dig a little bit deeper. So the electromagnetic connection that Jen and Brad have together is the channel of maturation, the 5342 from the root to the sacral. So together they are sacrally defined. And the interesting thing about this connection is that I wouldn't necessarily call it very sexy. It really just points to the fact that their relationship is here to run in cycles. So every era of their relationship has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And in fact, their marriage only lasted 5 years before Brad basically stepped out and left her, and everybody was just sort of shocked and amazed. I will say this, though. I remember there being some sort of rumor about the fact that Jennifer didn't want to have children and Brad really did. Angelina already had kids that she had adopted, but potentially that was the draw for Brad because he actually really wanted to be a father. And I mean, it's the tale as old as time, you know, two people get married thinking, oh, the other person's going to change their mind, and they don't. So, you know, maybe Brad was counting on Jennifer changing her mind, but she's a manifester. You can't change a manifestor's mind. They're here to do what they're going to do, and there's really no stopping them. So, you know, sorry, Brad, that might have been a source of contention. You know, he felt like she wasn't hearing his needs, and in steps Angelina, and she's like, I hear you. I know exactly what you need. So their electromagnetic channel, Angelina and Brad, is the 1156. This is the channel of curiosity. And I wouldn't necessarily say that this was particularly sexy either. It's a very intellectual connection. I'm sure they had a lot of stuff to talk about. I do remember reading somewhere that they enjoyed the same kind of books, and that this was something that they shared in common before there was even a romantic spark between the two of them. So again, I looked at their charts together and I wasn't really sure what the big deal was. And I wouldn't necessarily look at these two and say, oh, this has longevity. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, they were only married for 12 years, which I know in Hollywood standards is like eons, but in normal people time, not really. You know, when I was looking at Prince Charles and Camilla, they've been, you know, devoted to one another for decades and they are still married. So I could see why their connection couldn't stand a chance when compared to Charles and Diana. But I'm not entirely sure why Angelina was such a force, especially the in the actual breaking up of their marriage. You know, I can see why she might have been a fling or somebody to have, you know, a flirtation with, but, you know, maybe it really was that whole having kids thing that was just so irresistible to Brad, and he knew he was just never going to get that with Jennifer. So I really feel like these two charts compared point to, you know, maybe neither one of them was the right person for him. And hopefully he can find love with somebody who appreciates him and who he has a little bit more chemistry with. All right, guys, I think this is a good place to wrap it up. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram at HDbyZ and find me on my website. The link will be down in the show notes. There you can see I offer individual human design readings, a relationship mentorship program, and a community for conscious women who are practicing their human design through strategy and authority. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, ciao for now.